the rock and roll shayukh. So I asked my friend politely to go around and to speak to these guys, these eminent Illuminati, and ask them, did they know who is the Imam of the age? And if they don't know, then he should know that they are as ignorant as he is and I am. Despite having flown first class and despite sleeping in the 5 stars, they have no real authority. None of these people, unless you know who is the Imam, you have no authority. No authority, no real authority. You have authority, but no real authority. Real authority remains with the person being asked a question politely and directly and with no witnesses about, saying, yes, I know, and pointing with direct knowledge at who the Imam is. I met one man once, a very, very saintly man who had been through a lot of things, whose name I won't mention right now. And I asked him, because we were talking about this subject, did you ever see Al-Mahdi alayhi salam? And his face turned red. He's brownish. His face turned red. And bubbles of sweat popped out of his forehead. He looked exactly like you find described in the hadith when the Prophet ﷺ used to get the wahi. He began to tremble and to shake. And he couldn't get the words out of his mouth until finally he told me, yes. And this is the only person in all the people that I've met in 40 some odd years in being involved in this who said yes, and I believe him, that he had seen Al-Mahdi alayhi salam. Not in a dream, not in a vision, but he had actually seen him. But that's only one person. And again, it was just like I said, it was private, it was in quiet, there was nobody else around, there was nobody else, he wasn't showing off for anybody or anything like that. This was what they call man to man, you know, a question, an answer. Did you? Yes, I did. Beyond that, I didn't go into it with him. I thought that he would have apoplexy, as a matter of fact. I mean, he was shaking all over, his face was sweating like that, he was bright red. I mean, he was obviously, you know, very, very, very deeply affected by that. And this is a man who was in the front line, was, I mean, a very truthful, honest, and sincere man. And this is what he told me. But as to the point above, these people who don't know, and they have no authority. They have no real, they have limited authority, let's say, but they have no real authority. Because real authority remains only with the person who, having been asked a question politely and directly, with no witnesses around, nobody to show off for, really knows by direct knowledge who is the Imam of this time. Real authority has nothing to do with blood, it has nothing to do with lineage or tribe or madhab or tariqah, any of that stuff, nothing. It has to do with knowing or not knowing, period. And this, at least, I imagine what or who Nāṣir Khusro, Qaddasallahu Sirruhu, was in search of when he took the road exactly 960 years ago today, the day that I was writing this. His journey was certainly not first class and not 5-star. He says, quote, many a night I made a stone for my pillow, and the clouds were my tent, and I sank as low as a fish, and I ascended sometimes as high as the stars above the hills, now in the land where water was frozen like marble, now in the land where the very dust was hot as sparks, and I roamed, now on the sea, now on the plateau, trackless wastes, across mountains, sand, streams, up and down precipices, a coil of rope around my shoulder like a camel driver, a pack on my back like a mule, inquiring everywhere I went, searching from city to city and shore to shore. And this is what I'm trying to tell everybody. This is what you have to do if you want to know the truth. This is what you have to do. You cannot go sitting in your house and reading books and doing this, watching things on YouTube and so on and so forth. This is not, you may find out this, that, and the other thing, but this is not what's going to do it. You've got to go and find, just like our earlier ancestors, the Salaf, went and they would go 1,000 miles on foot to find a hadith. Now we have all the hadith. Now what we need now in this time, where is this man who knows? Where is this man of knowledge? And reputedly, there are 313 of them who actually know. So we know that they know, and we know that they're here. We even have a number. In other cases I've seen, so they mentioned 4,000, but in the other case they mentioned 313, which is the same number as the people who were at the Battle of Badr. But anyway, there are people here who know. There are people in this world who know who is the Imam of the time. They not only know, they speak to them, they speak to him, they have bay'at with him. They're here, but you got to find them. And you're not going to find them sitting in your house on your duff. You got to go out, like as he says, many a night I made a stone from my pillow and the clouds from my tent. And the story of this journey that he took is recorded in the Safarnama, or travelogue. And again, these are notes that he took, and he only wrote them all down after he had finished the end of his life. And he wrote about this journey that he took. It's not my intention to speak a long time about the Safarnama. I mean, this is a travelogue. There are many books, a number of books at least, on the subject. And indeed, you can download it, albeit in Urdu, but some parts of it also in Scribe D and from the net. In it, briefly, he recalls visits to dozens of cities over a 7-year period, from March 6, 1046, to October 23rd of 1052. You see, it's very well known exactly when this all happened. And he writes comprehensively about the cities, including the holy cities of Islam, which he includes details about schools, caravanserai, fortifications. He always wrote about fortifications, masajid, water supplies. He was very keen about writing about water supplies, scientists in those cities, the kings of the areas that he visited, the public, the population, the area of the cities, and of course his own interesting memories about what happened when he went there. And as I said before, amazingly, after 1,000 years, this book is still popular, readable for Persian speakers, and taught in schools all over modern Iran. He also wrote a book on mathematics, which has disappeared, as well as Zad al-Musafirin, or the traveling provisions of pilgrims, and Wajidin, or the face of religion, which are theoretical descriptions of religious and philosophical principles, and Gushayish Rahayish, which is a philosophical work that is translated into English by F.M. Hunzai under the title Knowledge and Liberation. You can read it and see what he thinks, which discusses creation, questions related to the soul, epistemology, and the doctrines of the Fatimiyun, which he became. He left as a Sunni, by the way. When he left on his trip, he was a Sunni. And after he studied with Muayyad, he became a Fatimi. It wasn't his original, what he came from.